So for the last few seasons, I've personally been a D.Va main. I mean, this season I'm kind of switching it up a little bit, playing some more Reaper, playing some more Mora, a little bit more Mercy, all of that. But in general, I think I can see a lot of big problems that a lot of enemy D.Vas are doing. And today I want to kind of call a lot of people out about what they're doing wrong, and overall just some big mistakes you might want to try to focus on fixing if you are a D.Va main yourself, and make sure that you aren't trash in a lot of your games. With all that said though, guys, let's get started. So I think that the first thing I want to say right here is that playing D.Va gives you a lot of opportunities. D.Va is an extremely strong character, probably the best character in the entire game right now, does a ton of damage, has a ton of mobility, very hard to kill, and can even stop enemy ultimates with ease, which a lot of other characters can't do. But with that, D.Va also is kind of a complicated character to know where to be and when to be there. And I think for a lot of players, they try to do too much at once. And right here, I'm going to start off with the first thing that I think a lot of D.Va players do too much of, and that is trying to dive in by themselves and get kills, or trying to push back the choke by themselves and solo the enemy team. I think a lot of D.Vas know that they are strong and they know that they can do a lot, but don't do stuff by yourself. Honestly, I think that's one of the main mistakes a lot of D.Va players make. D.Va can do stuff without other people, but as a tank, you really do benefit from having other teammates next to you, and you really do benefit a lot of your teammates. Especially playing D.Va with another tank, you can get through a choke, have them hold up their shield, you defense matrix, and your entire team can get through. But I know there's a lot of players that simply put, try to go in by themselves and try to make these plays by themselves. And if you're a player that's playing a very selfish type of D.Va, I think that's probably holding you back, and you really should try to play more with your team. Another big mistake that I see kind of with this is that a lot of people just try to engage by themselves and use their shift all the time to engage like that, and use it as a main engagement tool. And I'm going to say to you, you don't really have to use your shift to engage that much, or your rocket boosters to engage that much. In a lot of cases, and I've heard this from quite a few D.Va players, you should be trying to save your boosters to actually get out of the fight and make so that you aren't losing your mech. You might be kind of wondering, how do I do that? I mean, I gotta go in there, I gotta finish off kills. In a lot of cases, what you want to do is, instead of, boosting in, trying to get kills like that, you should just be trying to walk up near the front line with your team. Walk up near the front line with your Reinhardt, get close, try to finish off people at low HP, maybe finish them off with the booster, and then fly away. And not just play by yourself, and not just fight by yourself. And I know that that's kind of annoying to do, and sometimes your teammates just aren't pressing the W button. But really, if you try to focus on playing with other people and stop diving in as much by yourself, you're going to lose your mech a lot less often, and you're going to be a lot more useful to your team. Because while Baby D.Va can do damage, I mean, that's about all she can do. And overall, having the mech is obviously a very important thing to do. Now, here's another thing I think a lot of people kind of underutilize, and that is the defense matrix. And I think a lot of people know how to use it in the front line, and they know how to, stop the enemy Reinhardt from throwing out a lot of the fire strikes, stop his ult charge. There's a lot of different spam damage you can stop. Overall, it's a very good ability that can sometimes even stop ultimates, as I was talking about earlier. But I think a lot of people kind of forget about the power of defending your own backline with the defense matrix. And let's say, for example, the enemy team is playing Tracer or Genji, or just a really annoying backline harasser. As this character, as D.Va, you can move from a frontline tank to kind of a midline tank, where you are close enough to your frontline that you can help if they need to, but also you can be close enough to your backline to protect them. And I think you might want to keep that in mind, because if again, let's say that they have a Tracer or something, you can almost completely shut down the Tracer by yourself. She runs next to your all your healers, and you hold down that defense matrix, and you make her almost completely useless. Then your healers can heal each other up. You can ignore the Tracer for about, an entire clip. Go back to defending, ignore her, go back to defending, ignore her, and do that again and again and again. And a thing I see a lot of people do is just kind of ignore their backlines and hope that they'll survive, and the hope that their lifelines will continue to, heal them and continue to help them in the front line. And I think you have to remember, as tank and as D.Va, because you can help them so easily, is that if you keep your supports alive and if you keep them healthy, you're going to be alive for longer, you're going to be healthy for longer, and you should be able to win a lot more team fights than the enemies if you have your own flankers attacking the enemy backline. Overall, it's a thing you should try to focus on more, and a thing that I think a lot of people just kind of forget about, because, yeah, D.Va can play in the front line. Yeah, D.Va can get kills, and she is really fun to do all that stuff with. But, playing back and playing safe it is an important thing to try to learn. I think it is kind of a, I guess, boring thing to try to learn, but over time, if you can learn it, you can become a lot better and a lot more useful to your team. Myself, personally, I think I'm still a little bit too aggro, but that is a nice thing to go for. Now, something else that I'm going to completely swap to right here is getting kills. And, you know, even though you should be defending, there still is the importance of getting kills and finishing people off. But what I want to say right here is that you guys need to stop trying to 100-0 people as often. I mean, if there is a soldier on high ground that's ulting, I mean, you can try to kill him, you can try to do that. But in a lot of situations, I'll see divas just jump into the enemy front line and hope that they can 100-0 the enemy McCree that's pushed up a little bit too far. And sometimes you can do that, but it really is unsafe. You're going to feed a lot of ult charge, and why do that when instead you can wait until the enemy starts to take some damage, and then you can go for them. When they're at around 70% HP, 50% HP, they don't have to be about dead, they just have to have a little bit of damage on them. I think that people just kind of overestimate, I guess, the amount of damage D.Va can do, because while she can one-shot a lot of DPS and she can do over 200 damage, it's just safer to go for more safe kills. And I'd honestly recommend think about your kills and just don't go for stupid things by yourself. I know a lot of people do it, and a lot of time is wasted trying to get your mech after you killed yourself, hoping to get a kill on the enemy backline, which probably wasn't going to happen anyways, especially if the enemy healers are all up. Yeah, you know, you don't really have enough burst to go through all their healing and everything else. Kind of keep that in mind when you are going for kills by yourself. And right here, another thing about getting kills and everything is I guess you guys should try to focus a little bit less on always getting the kills, and instead focus on trying to do more consistent damage and save your team, and mainly doing more consistent damage. A thing that I've been trying to do is to try to get gold damage just about every single game, and oftentimes when you do that, you'll still get gold elims because you're tagging everybody with your damage. But if you play in the front line and start to focus more on taking out the enemy Reinhardt shield or taking out the Orisa shield, and really just blasting out just damage all the time next to the enemies, and then trying to finish off kills when they're low, I think it's going to be a lot more useful, especially when you're playing right up next to your tank, or, you know, kind of in the midline if your supports do need some help. I know that there's just a lot of time where divas just kind of stand there and wait for something to happen, or wait for someone to go out of line, anything like that. Try to make all of that time into time where you're at least outputting a little bit of damage into the enemy barrier, or a little bit of damage into the enemy front line, and that can really go a long way. And a thing about the enemy front line I want to mention is that D.Va actually can kill frontline tanks, and I think a lot of people kind of underestimate her damage overall. If you see an enemy Orisa at like 300 health, you can dive on her and you can kill her if she doesn't have her fortify up. I think that overall a lot of people are just too anxious going for kills, and on the other hand, aren't looking for the kills that are right in front of them that they can get with ease. Try to, I guess, change your perspective in that way, and that'll help you do a lot better and kill yourself a lot less, which is, I'm going to say, the main problem about divas. They're just a little bit too overly anxious about doing a lot of stuff. And I guess right here, another thing that a lot of people are kind of anxious about doing is using Defense Matrix. And I think a lot of people just kind of use it whenever it's up to block any random damage. And yeah, that can be nice, I guess, if you're in a poke war just trying to charge ultimates. But for the most part, you should always try to keep at least 1 second of charge on your Defense Matrix, unless you really need to use it, and then of course use it. Don't just use it to block a little bit of McCree shots, don't just use it to block some random Orisa damage. Save it for something important, as it is, again, one of the best abilities in the entire game, but I see so many divas just pressing it, wasting it. Don't be one of those people, because again, it's so important as this character, and really one thing that if you can get good at utilizing, you'll become much better than just about everybody else in your rank. And the final thing about getting better as D.Va right here, and the final mistake I guess I see a lot of as D.Va players, is that a lot of people just don't combo their ultimates. I don't know why. A lot of D.Va players just try to go for fat solo ultimates all the time, because sometimes it works, and sometimes you can get these great plays, but before you do it, don't. And instead, look at what your teammates are playing, look at what your teammates are doing, and mainly look at their ult charge, and try to see if you have anything that can combo with your teammates' ultimates. And if you don't, try to save it for a little bit and try to then use it on later. And even if you don't have something like a Rein ult, which obviously combos, or like a Mei ult, which, you know, combos as well because the freeze, even if you don't have any crowd control, you can still use your ultimate to block off the enemies from running away and let someone like your Soldier or your McCree or your Genji get some kills with their ult. So please save your ultimates and use it with your teammates, because yes, again, D.Va's ult can kill everybody by herself, but that doesn't mean that it normally will, and you should honestly save it for the best time possible instead of just throwing it out at random. A lot of people do that, and I think that would be a way for you to get a little bit better and just be a little less trash in your games. But with all that said, those are just the main things that I see a lot of D.Va players just kind of make big mistakes on. But in general, I think D.Vas are pretty good. I think that she is a high skill cap character in a lot of ways, and a lot of positioning, decision making. But I guess, you know, a lot of people still are doing good with her, and there are a lot of mains that know how to play her well. I just wanted to go over some of the main mistakes that I see happen in a lot of games. With all that said though, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like or comment down below what you see a lot of D.Va players kind of making mistakes around, and, you know, we can kind of see what I missed and what are some of the main things that a lot of people are seeing out there. Anyways, as always, guys, if you enjoyed, press the like button or subscribe button. As always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful day.